We are back with another live. Amazing. Man, what's up, y'all? I hope y'all having a great Thursday evening. As per usual, whenever day that y'all catching up with these lives. Um, man, I had a crazy conversation today with somebody at work, and the conversation was pertaining to knowing that, you're being amongst people that's walking in darkness, since that's been a theme that we've been talking about like this whole entire time. But yeah, and not letting that affect you and overcome you and overwhelm you. And it's easier said than done, and it's extremely difficult. It's the hardest thing to do is to overcome the darkness. And while having this conversation, there's a lot of pivotal things that was being brought up. Very, very interesting. It was one knowing that the person I was talking to, which I totally understand, because it's things that we all deal with. I'm not no exception to the rule. I'm just extremely aware of it at this point. But the one thing that the conversation was pertaining to is feeling other people's heaviness, feeling other people's darkness within their soul, within their like spirit, and they walking around with that. And it can make you feel heavy. And not only that, it can remind you of the heaviness and the darkness that's dwelling in you that you're trying to overcome. And breaking that down. And these are things that people know, but in the same breath, they're not like receptive to it. They choose to move contrary to what's going on. What's going on? Appreciate you guys for being in this live. What's going on? Um, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? How y'all doing tonight? How y'all doing? It'd be nice if we get some lights, get some more people in here. Um, but yeah, walking in the light of truth, walk versus walking in the darkness of lies. While having this conversation, Jeanette, I'm shouting you out right now. Of course, thank you for being in this live. I hope you having a great night. I hope you're having a wonderful night. I hope you're serving your purpose. You're alive and you're breathing, and that's more than enough. That's more than enough. But thank you for being on this live. I'm encouraging y'all to walk in the light of truth, no matter how difficult that may be. There is a lot of people right now that's walking in darkness and they're making a choice to stay in it because they feel as though that it's easier to stay in that place, not knowing that it's tainting their soul even more so, not knowing that they're not resolving the suffering that they're going through like internally. Um, I feel as though that once you face that like directly, and it's a simple thing to face this darkness. You have to sit and be still and have your awareness be that light that sheds light on the darkness that's inside of you. We are talking about walking in a light of truth. Faith versus knowledge, pride versus humility. And the best thing that you can do with living this life is be as humble as you possibly can. Being humble. A lot of people are extremely prideful with the life that they live and connected to like a false sense of identity. The one thing that I've been talking about constantly, and this is the question I'm going to bring up tonight, is if I ask the question of who are you, how will you answer that? And you shouldn't answer that from the standpoint of the job title that you have. You shouldn't answer that from the standpoint of why, like you being like a husband, a wife, a son, a daughter, any of that. Those are things that like what you are, but it's not who you are. And there's a subtle but important distinction between the two. And when it comes to pride versus humility, pride leads to like the darkness of your soul, and it leads you to the follow a way that was never meant for you in the first place. But when you truly humble yourself and give in to the powers that be, then the greatest good can come to you. And you're willing to walk in faith. What's up, y'all? What's up with y'all? Thank y'all for tuning in. I'm gonna keep saying that. Um, but this it's not a living life is like not easy at all. It's not very difficult, and a lot of people right now are going through it. A lot of people are going through it. Jeanette, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Um, very much so. But I am talking from a Christian perspective. But most importantly, I believe that people should have a direct personal relationship with God rather than joining a religious group and adopting to a religious group beliefs. Whether it's Christian, whether it's Muslim, whether you're Buddhist, whether you're Hindu, it's all about having a personal relationship with the creator that's within you. That's the most important thing. And like I said not too long ago, you have to sit still to know who you are and where you come from. And if you are aware that, first off, there's obstacles that will come up. There's a lot of doubt that's going to come up. There's going to be a lot of fear that comes up within you. And by you being aware of that, you're going to understand that that thing is not necessarily you. Thanks for telling this, but I have to go. Have a good night. Thank you for tuning in the first place. You helped out. Serve your purpose, and God bless you. But there's something from this book that I have called the Ascetic Homilies of Saint Isaac the Syrian. And in this book, he goes through 77 homilies, which is spiritual edification, which is like kind of crazy. I'm gonna give you guys like, for me, it's been a crazy journey for me to like get to this point, especially here with what I'm doing with Purpose Served. It didn't it didn't get this, it wasn't this spiritual when I first started out. And the roots of this is like all the same. So for those of you that's like, what in the world am I listening to? And what in the world is going on? Let me inform you. Purpose Served is a brand that I started around the time of the pandemic to encourage people to serve their purpose, to live out their dreams and aspirations. And from my journey with playing basketball, it has taught me so many valuable lessons about perseverance, not giving up, and by you ultimately having faith in something that you truly believe in, it's going to change not only your life, but the people lives that surround you. And over time, that has changed drastically for me, very much so. And then over time, which is something that I always knew, but I started to understand that this life that we're living is way more spiritual than it is physical. The physical come with it, but this life is primarily physical. It's a physical existence that we have, but when you look at the essence of everything, it's things that we can't see that affects us mostly. An example that I can use for that is our thoughts and our feelings. Our thoughts are intangible and our feelings are intangible, but yet and still we express those things for the world to see. And that makes it tangible. But the essence of it is intangible. Like, in order for somebody to know that you're angry or upset, then you have to show it. You have to act it out. But the anger itself is something that people can't see. The thoughts that you have is something that people can't see. They can't touch it. You can't touch it. But when you reverse the lens of using your spiritual eyes to see what's going on within your soul, you're able to see all of this stuff extremely clearly if you're looking for the truth. If you're not looking for the truth, you won't ever find it. And if you're not looking for the truth, you won't ever find your purpose. And if you don't know what your purpose is in life, go within first to try to figure that out. And when you go within yourself, first and foremost, the best thing that you could possibly do is eliminate all distractions that surround you. I'm talking about electronic devices. I'm talking about people, your friends, your family, all of that, and get rid of that. And really ask yourself and really think about this, right? How often do you spend time with yourself? Like legit time, without listening to music, like I said, without any sort of distractions that's going to pull you away from yourself and sitting still. And by you sitting still and getting to know yourself, you're going to be able to get to know God as long as you sit there and are extremely patient enough and willing to endure any and everything that's going to come up within you. Face the hell that's within you. Go through the craziness. And it will be uncomfortable. It truly will be uncomfortable. But at the end of the day, when you don't do that, you further in the darkness and you live in a life of a lie. And a lot of people are doing that. And earlier, when I started this live, I was simply talking about a conversation that I had with somebody at work pertaining to this conversation that we having like right now, and trying to get her to see that your heaviness that you're feeling and the darkness that you're feeling from dealing with other people and entering other spaces is pointing you somewhere, and it's pointing you within yourself. And I don't know if you guys ever heard about the kingdom of God or the kingdom of heaven. And when Jesus saying that it's at hand. And also when Jesus was saying that if somebody tell you that it's over there or that that person like has the kingdom of God, don't go over there. The kingdom of God and the kingdom of heaven is within you. It's within you. You have to go deep down within yourself to realize that that is the absolute truth. And not only that, it's an act of faith. It's a total act of faith. And this is why having a personal relationship with God is very important rather than pertaining to a group of people or religion and all of that. Your personal relationship with God is the most important thing because you came in this world, in this universe by yourself, and you want to check up out of here by yourself. And everything else is just simply a part of the ride and part of the journey. And as you're going through this, you are either going to make your soul heavy based off of the acts and deeds that you are partaking in, or you're going to make your soul light based off of the same thing. And the goal is to make your soul as light as possible, the embodiment of light before you check up out of here. And that's how you know you're on your way. That's how you truly know. So, in his book, The Ascetic Homilies of St. Isaac the Syrian, homily 52. I'm about to just go on a tangent and start reading to you guys. But um it says this measure of knowledge does not reckon that there is any noetic power and it is steersman over a man whatsoever, nor any divine care that shelters and takes concern for him. It takes no account of God's providential governance, but on the contrary, it attributes to a man's diligence and his methods every good thing in him, his rescue from what harms him, and his natural ability to avert the plights and many adversities that secretly and manifestly accompany our nature. This degree of knowledge presumes that all things are by its own providence, like those men who assert that there is no divine governance of visible things. Nevertheless, it cannot be without continual cares and fear for the body. Therefore, it is a prey to faint-heartedness, sorrow, despair, fear of the demons, trepidation before men, the rumor of thieves and the report of murders, anxiety over diseases, concern over want, the lack of necessities, fear of death, fear of sufferings, of wild beasts, and of similar things that make this knowledge like a sea made turbulent by great waves at every hour of the night and day. For knowledge does not know how to cast its care upon God through the confident trust of faith in Him. Wherefore, in all things that concern it, it is constantly engaging in devising devices and clever contrivances. But when in some instances, uh, my bad, but when in some instance the modes of its contrivances prove fruitless, it strives with men as though they hindered and opposed it, since it does not see in the mystical hand of providence. So this is talking about in this specific homily, it's talking about 3 degrees of knowledge. And the first degree is talking about how it cleaves to the body and it gathers up the following provisions for itself. And that's wealth, vainglory, honor, adornment, rest of the body, and special means to guard the body's nature from adversities. So, essentially speaking, the first degree of knowledge is pertaining to your physical body, but it has nothing to do. Tonya, how you doing? I hope you're having a great night. But the first degree of knowledge has nothing to do with faith but everything to do in what your physical body wants and need. And I preach on here all the time that when you lean on to what your physical body need, it leads to pleasure, and pleasure ultimately leads to the death of your spirit and the death of your soul. It rocks it to sleep. And knowledge is contrary to faith. And when you're leaning totally on faith, you aren't going to worry about what your body like want. You're going to have everything provided for you. Sufficient is the day. Let tomorrow worry about itself. Yesterday already is over and done with. It don't exist, and tomorrow never happened. And when you like ruminate on either one, is when you think about the future, it creates crazy anxiety. It creates crazy anxiety. And when you always dwelling on the past, it creates regret and depression. And this is why we are quote unquote in such a mental health crisis and this crazy epidemic of the mind and the heart is because people aren't present. They lack presence. And I'm encouraging y'all to be present here and now. That's all we have. That's literally all we have. And I tell you what, I promise you, if you guys are present and if you guys are locked in, every single thing will be provided to you because of how faithful you are and knowing that you're going to be okay when it's all said and done. And people don't really trust that at all. And this is why people take as much as they possibly can because they don't believe that it's enough to go around for everybody. And that's not the truth. That is not the truth. We live in a world where, Tim, how you doing? Appreciate it. I appreciate it. Appreciate it. I hope you also having a great night. I hope you're having a great night. But you have to walk in faith, not by sight, not by physical sight. And that's a part of the physical body and that first degree of knowledge that I'm talking about. And you have to move strictly off your soul and you have to move strictly off your spirit. You have to move off of the unseen. You have to move off of the intangibles because by you doing that, you will get true clarity and insight about who you are and what you're supposed to be in this world. And people are missing that. And going back to the mental health crisis that just was spoken on, I truly believe at the end of the day, it's a soul sickness, and people need soul cleansing, and they need to go to a soul hospital to receive that cleansing. Because by taking medication, it don't resolve it; it simply blocks it out. And the true battle that we have to like commit to is overcoming, not blocking it out and pretending that it's not there. That makes the darkness even more dark. And by you simply being aware to it, you shed light on it. And then after that, you are able, over time, it's not easy. You are going to suffer along the way, but immediately it's going to go away. I promise you. I promise you. But while doing that, you are going to realize that it's not you. There's something that you attach to and identified with that ultimately wants you to be destroyed because it recognizes that you're God's creation. God gave his living spirit to you. And for all living creatures, right? This is what makes us like connected to each other and alive. As long as you got the breath of God within you, you're good. But at some given point, that breath of God gets taken away from you, and you don't experience this life for what it is anymore. So be ultimately humble that every day is being provided to you, and all the means is being provided to you. And you don't really have to work that hard for anything. But society will condition you that you gotta work yourselves to death in order to make it in this life. You should ultimately work. I'm not saying that don't work, but it's a certain way and a certain order to this life that overpowers all. I promise you. And by you finding that beacon of light within you, what's going to happen is it's going to eventually get emanated out of you, and then people are going to be able to see it. This invisible light that's concealed in you because a revelation hits you, and then what happens is it lights up the darkness around you because the light and darkness can't occupy the same space at the same time. The daytime is totally different from the nighttime. And even with that being said, a lot of evil things happen when the sun go down, and good things happen when the sun is up. But always have the sun up within you because just like there's a crazy universe that's with like outside of you, there's also a crazy universe that's within you in your microcosm. This is the birthplace of your dreams. This is the birthplace of your thoughts, and this is the birthplace of your feelings and emotions. But a lot of us over time been compromised from the time we were born all the way up until we check up out of here till it gets tainted and it gets dark and our dreams start to lie to us. Our thoughts start to lie to us and our feelings start to lie to us about who we truly are. That's insane. And I'm encouraging y'all to acquire spiritual knowledge in order to fight the good fight, in order to serve your purpose. in order to be who you are always destined to be. On the last live that I did, I talked about a seed and how important seeds actually are in the process of a seed, of how it first starts off of descending into the ground, and then it gets rooted. It gets rooted in the ground, so it goes down even more before it breaks out of darkness and heads towards the sun, the light. And then you're able to see what was contained within that seed. You're able to see the flower. You're able to see the tree. But also, it has to be nurtured in the right environment, and it takes time, and it takes a lot of patience. And that's the same thing that's going on within you first. We were made from the dust of the ground, and we will return there. But when you make that return there, you want to make sure that your body is light once you get up out of here. That's the real journey. That's the real battle that we experiencing. And be present. Be present every single day. Be present every single day. That is such a beautiful skill to have. And it's going to give you foreknowledge and insight about what's really going on within you and outside of you simultaneously. And you're going to be able to clearly recognize where other people's darkness is coming from. But if you don't do that, you won't be able to recognize where other people's darkness is coming from. You're going to fall into it. You're going to associate with it and you're going to identify with it. And then once you get behind closed doors and you're alone, you're going to start to feel crazy about the thoughts and the feelings that you're having. And this is what make a lot of people not want to be alone. Seriously, because they can't handle being by themselves because of the thoughts that they have and the feelings that they have. And I encourage you guys to spend some time with yourself, at least 5 minutes out of a 24-hour day, at least eight of it, if y'all getting like the proper sleep, is spent sleeping. And then the rest of your day, you just going to and fro, going about your day without really being mindful about the things that you're experiencing and the people and spirits that you're encountering throughout the whole entire day and information that you're taking in that's corrupting you and blinding you and that's leading to the love of your body instead of the love of your soul and the love of your spirit. That ultimately, this is the goal of your soul and your spirit once you purify your heart and once you purify your mind and once to reunite with the creator again from where it came from. And that's why you ultimately feel real crazy because something in you knows that it's not aligned to its true purpose and its true calling. It's aligned with the exact opposite, and you feel off. Everybody's feeling it. Everybody's feeling this heaviness that's going on lately and everything. And this is what we lean in towards collectively. Switch the lens. And you have a spiritual set of eyes and you got a spiritual set of ears. You got a whole spirit body, you got a whole soul body that wants to be activated and awakened. But you're also fighting the other battle at the same time, which your physical body don't want what your spirit body want. Because your physical body knows that this is a temporary experience and you are living in something that's eternal and infinite. You were made in that. And I think the law of conservation is energy can't be created or destroyed. So think about this, right? Since energy can't be created or destroyed, that simply means that when we check up out of here to the next life over, things is just changing form. Things is constantly changing form all the time. But there's a such thing as constant within that change. and find that unmovable source that's deep, deep down within you. That's your beacon of light. That's your beacon of light. And follow that way to the absolute end. In spite of all the madness that's happening outside of you, in spite of probably like the crazy amount of drama that you probably are dealing with your family, in spite of the crazy amount of stuff that you're dealing with amongst your friends. And even if you feel as though that you don't even have no friends or have no family to rely on, good, good, that's good. Rely on God, rely on your purpose, rely on your soul to guide you along your path. Seriously. And by you being who you truly are meant to be, you will change the world. You will change the world that's around you. And there's something extremely magnetic about that. There's something extremely powerful about that. That after a while, people will be drawn to you. And they won't even realize why. They won't even realize why they're drawn to you. Because they unconsciously recognize the light that's coming from you. Seriously. And all of y'all are capable of finding that light and emanating that outwardly into the world because you're one on one. No two snowflakes are alike. Think about this. There has never been a you that ever existed ever in human history, ever, which means that you got something unique and authentic to provide in this world. That's a part of the reason why you're here. That's a part of your purpose. Seriously, that's a part of your purpose. And be very, very aware of that every single day. And don't let other people's darkness corrupt you into being something that you were never meant to be. And I'm gonna continue on reading um from this book, the ascetic homilies of Saint Isaac the Syrian. The next one of the next couple of paragraphs, it says, faith, however, attributes its works to grace. For this reason, it cannot be lifted up with pride. Now, pride and humility oppose each other. And if you're walking in the darkness of pride, you're literally you just want what your body wants. But on the opposite end, if you're walking in the light of humility, you're walking in truth. You're walking in the light of truth. And your path will be lit up for you without you even really trying. Seriously. Um, For this reason, it cannot be lifted up with pride. As it is written, I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me. And again, not I, but the grace of God, which was with me. And also, knowledge puffeth up, which the blessed apostle said of this same knowledge, since it is not mingled with faith and hope in God. But he said it not concerning true knowledge, far be it, but humility, true knowledge makes perfect the soul of those who acquire it, like Moses, David, Isaiah, Peter, Paul, and the rest of the saints who have been accounted worthy of this perfect knowledge to the degree possible for human nature. Um, and by diverse theorias and divine revelations, by the lofty vision of spiritual things, and by ineffable mysteries and the light, their knowledge is swaddled up at all times, and in their own eyes, they reckon their soul to be dust and ashes. So, faith is extremely important on this journey with serving your purpose. And faith is ultimately the belief in the unseen, not what's seen. And when people lean onto seen and they need physical proof of things, they easily are moved because the revelation hasn't hit them yet. And this era and this time period and the spirit of time that we living in, people need physical proof of things. And if they don't have it, they have a hard time believing that something is real. And we're seeing the effects of that right now as we speak. right now as we speak, and believing in science. And I'm not saying don't believe in these things because science is very, very important. I'm not even gonna lie, but it's crazy. Science was originally called natural philosophy, and it was the study of the natural world. And the basis of science was based off of spiritual beliefs and spiritual teachings. And we lost that root as time went on, and everything became mechanical, and everything had to be measured. Well, nowadays, and it's making us lose sight of having faith and knowing that things are being provided for us. Seriously, it's very important that you walk in the light of truth. So many people, majority of people, don't walk in the light of truth. They love their darkness. They love suffering, and they love making other people suffer. They love it. They love hell. They love their hell. Man, how crazy is that? How crazy is that? That you know what? I'm feeling crazy. I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling mad, and I'm feeling sadness, and I'm feeling these crazy emotions. That's not good. I want to make other people feel that pain. I want to make other people feel it. That's disturbing. And this is what happens throughout human history. It's just that no matter what, from an individual to a collective level, that no matter what, no matter if it's repressed or not, whatever somebody's thoughts and feelings are, it will be projected out no matter what at some given point. It's like a volcano erupting. A volcano erupting comes from somewhere down below. And then all this pressure get built up, all this pressure get built up, and at some point it's going to get released. And we feel that heaviness so much nowadays. We feel it. It's actually super disturbing. It's very disturbing. And the ultimate people that we should be fearful of is the youth that's being affected by all of this and adopting these new ways of living and believing that the way the world is and is it can be changed and it can be so much better. But it's more dangerous for somebody not to care than to care. Because when somebody truly don't care about something, it can go any and which way. And majority of people, we so desensitized with violence, we so desensitized with seeing so many atrocities at this point, thanks to social media, to be quite honest, and news. Like we see craziness all the time, like, that's regular. I don't really care. It's inevitable, it's bound to happen. And the youth, they're like, it's crazy. 20 years ago, 15 years ago, people weren't walking around with their heads down because they were like looking in a phone. 20 years ago, you wasn't like in a room and everybody's like doom scrolling instead of like connecting with each other. It's crazy. Um, my stepmom not too long ago um said something to one of my siblings who were like fairly younger than me, and she said that she looked around the room and everybody was on their phone. And she was like, "This is weird. This is this is weird." And they're like, "What? How? Why?" It's like because when I was growing up, it wasn't this wasn't the case. And my younger sibling said something that was extremely interesting. And she said, "Then what were y'all doing if y'all didn't have that? Y'all must have been extremely bored." And it's like, wow, like it was nothing else better to do. Like there's not somebody right next to you to connect with and have a direct human interaction with. This is what the youth is like growing up in a freaking dystopia. It's like turning into Blade Runner overnight, but that's that's crazy. This is what's going to generate the power of like artificial intelligence for people to like to rely on that more and more, and people are gonna really feel awkward in social interactions and feel very disconnected with being in a room full of people. It's already happening. It's already here, but it's going to get worse. It will get worse as time go on. Isn't that crazy to y'all? That's not crazy, man. Have an actual conversation with people that's around, and don't be so glued to your phone and looking down at a dark screen. Easier said than done. That's like easier said than done. People's social skills are going in the basement. It's gonna in the next 5 years, man, social interaction is gonna be even more awkward than it already is now. Like people don't have nothing to talk about. Man, that's nuts to me. That really is. But at the end of the day, it's like we've been prepped to live like this. I think ever since the pandemic, honestly, once they like shut the whole world down and everybody was like locked in their house and they couldn't leave, that's crazy that they got away with that. The whole world shut down and you're not leaving your house. You got to quarantine. And that's what made people start shifting to like this excessive amount of content creation, excessive amount of content consumption. And ultimately that's another thing that leads you further away from yourself, honestly. And looking at the darkness that's coming from a black screen with artificial light. This brings me to something that I've been talking about a lot. I'm all over the place right now, so stay with me. You know what I mean? Give me a light if you are staying with me. And it's like, all right, I think this guy's on to something. But the allegory of the cave, I talk about the allegory of the cave all of the time, right? And there's three levels in the allegory of the cave. You got the people that's chained to the wall, that's deep down in the cave and darkness, and they're facing a wall, and they're looking at shadows of images, right? Behind the wall that's in back of them, there's people holding up objects of pretty much what they're facing on the wall. So if somebody's seeing a shadow of a flower, a shadow of a chicken, a shadow of, you know, a fish, there's somebody in back of them that's holding up the object of those things and not necessarily the real thing. And what's lighting the cave and providing the light in this cave is an artificial fire within the cave that's providing light to the people in darkness that don't even realize that they chained up to a wall and they can't move. And they're forced to look at things that's being projected to them. And the people that's holding up the objects and holding up the images is controlling what they see. And these people they don't even have no clue and no thought to think about that the things that's being projected to them is artificial and they're in darkness. That's crazy. And then after that, the second level, right? We're going up. We're going up from here. We're at the bottom right now. We're at the bottom with the people chained up to the wall. Now we're going up a little bit. It's still not a good place to be though. Is the people that's holding up these false images that's coming from this artificial fire. And you also got the people that's making a climb outside of the cave and headed towards the true light, where like that direction of where the sun is coming from. And some of the people that's making the climb out the cave, the light is so bright that's coming within the cave that they're like, I don't know about this. I'm gonna turn back around because the my eyes are used to the darkness of the cave. And you got the rare few that's gonna climb out the cave and get blinded by the true light of the sun and being able to see the chickens, the fish, and the flower for what those chicken, fish, and flowers are for what they are. Actually, make the climb out of the cave. Don't stay within the cave. Don't stay in darkness. Find the light. And paradoxically speaking, that light is within you. You won't find that light outside of you. No matter how hard you try, you won't find it outside of you. And in the beginning of this live, I talked about the important question to ask yourself is who are you? And if you're inside the cave and you're associating with the darkness in the cave, people think that what they do is who they are. And it's a false sense of identity and it's a false sense of perception. Walk in the light of truth. Walk in the light of truth. And have faith that as you climb out, that you will get clarity from the sunlight hitting you. And it's going to take a minute for your eyes to adjust to the sunlight due to the fact that you've been enclosed in darkness this whole entire time, probably your whole entire life. You know what I'm saying? Get to the light at all costs. Get to the light. Get to the light of truth and walk in that truth so boldly that nothing is going to deter you. And this is going to be the consequence of walking in the light of truth. It's just that the light of truth makes people deeply uncomfortable. And they're going to try to throw their darkness on you. But if you truly walk in it, you are going to light their darkness up. And your light is going to overcome their darkness if you stand firm and stand still in that knowing and be silent in that knowing. That's the path that I'm encouraging you guys to walk down. Get out the cave, get to the light. Get to the light at all costs. Get to the light at all costs. And you will be fine. You will be okay. Other than that, this is all I have for y'all tonight. This is amazing life. Serve your purpose, overcome the darkness that's within you, and overcome the darkness that's around you in this world right now. And by doing that, you will be serving your purpose, and that form will hit you, and you will find an act of service that's going to not only change your life, but the life of many people around you. Please, please do that. And God bless y'all, man. Serve your purpose. I'm out of here. Until next time, we got episode 100 of the podcast dropping soon. Please tap into the Purpose Serve podcast. It's on the YouTube. I'm out of here. Have a good one. Deuces.